Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Virgo. If Virgo is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. Sorry. My cats are all over the place. All right, so let's get started, Virgo. Okay, let's see. What do these tea leaves have to say? And you know what? I want to actually start with the card before we get too deep into the cup. Unfortunately, we have the Five of Cups. Okay, and this, as you can kind of see, is not the happiest looking card, is it? We have kind of the flowers drooping and the petals falling. The sky is very ominous with that red hue, and so this is from the Thoth deck, and this is related to disappointment. Okay, this is a very emotional card. It's, you know, something has gone wrong, right? Some kind of letdown. And I'm sorry. I was hoping that it was going to be another kind of positive, but we'll find, we'll find our silver lining. We always do, don't we? All right, let's see. Now, the first thing I really noticed in this bowl is in the middle here, it looks like an ear, okay? Because it kind of is that ear shape, and as the whole, I think that this has very much to do with some kind of talking going on, some kind of communication happening, but it seems like it is something that is maybe not super welcomed, okay? I want to look here. Now I'm seeing a person, and it looks like, and let's get this closer. It looks like they are the person, and then they're holding something up, and it looks like maybe a child. Okay, I'm also seeing that there's quite a fracture right down the middle of what looks like a heart. So I think that this could be a situation with possibly a family member. It could be like a parent. It could be maybe one of your children. Or somebody who was like a parent figure, somebody who was a caretaker, who helped raise you, or possibly somebody that you raised that is not maybe one of your biological children, something along these lines, okay? It seems like there's been some kind of issue in the past. There's been some amount of heartbreak, okay? It seems like, I almost feel like it's maybe more like a conflict versus, something, I mean, it could be though, something that is heartbreaking to you within the relationship or within their life, possibly. And I think that this kind of messaging that's happening has to do with this person in some capacity. And I want to kind of look at, let's see what else we have. And this one's interesting because it looks like a Y, and this is upside down, Y and a Y. It also looks like it could be a H and a Y, but it looks like almost like the Cancer symbol with the the kind of, you know, almost looks like the 6 and the 9. But with a Y and a Y. So I wonder what that means exactly. I don't know. But it feels like there's a balance to, maybe, I'm trying to think what this could mean. Almost like it feels like they, at some point, you were very close. You balanced each other. Like you were each other's world. If that was maybe a parent relation, you and your parents' relationship, or a relationship you had with your child. I don't know exactly. I want to keep looking though. Okay, and we have here, I'm trying to get this in a space where it's like how I'm seeing it. Okay, so we have a little cup, okay, and then we have, it looks like a hummingbird, okay, kind of coming to the cup. It looks like it's going to maybe drink from that cup. And I kind of feel like, it's like you've been in a place where there's really that strong Ace of Cups, kind of just like a chalice full, or being filled, ready to be filled, just of an energy of optimism, of creativity, of self-realization, of having a clear kind of motivation to get to where you want to go, where you're envisioning yourself. There's just a lot of energy towards wanting to reach your goals, wanting to have your life how you want it, and working very diligently with the bird, the hummingbird, very fast, very, you know, clever, multitasker, you know, somebody who does a million things in one day and gets them all done, and this kind of energy, right? A lot of physical energy as well, okay? But I feel like to some degree this has been interrupted, okay, because of whatever the situation that is kind of arising right now. We have also the most sacred ibis bird here, okay? So this seems to be, it really seems to be affecting all spheres of your being, okay? This is something, and I'm trying to, I wish I could get a clear picture of like what has happened, what has transpired, but I really do feel like this is an old wound, an old situation, something from the past, and something has triggered it to come back up, okay? I almost feel like maybe this could be like an anniversary, or some kind of stressor that's outside of your normal kind of stresses and stressors that, you know, you deal with normally. It feels so emotionally charged. And I'm trying to think how this like ties in into the ibis bird, but I'm just seeing, as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing there's kind of a little moth or butterfly. We have another flying bird here, okay, and then there's also this snail. So, and let's see if we can get the snail right here, okay? So I feel like there's just it's like on all sides of you, like all of these different parts of all of these kind of like your totems for the different parts of yourself are being kind of activated all at once. I feel like there's almost a sense of frenzy because there are almost waves of, it's like rage, anger, okay? Like you just are having a really hard time kind of quieting this old hurt that really is putting you into this like kind of survival mode, but also just so angry. And you know, I think that it makes sense as a Virgo, right? This ibis with the very like insightful, very contemplative, graceful, and then we have the snail trying to slowly get things done properly from beginning to end, taking your time, but also your mind with the bird flying, your mind a million miles per hour, right? Think while you're doing these things correctly and to completion, you also are thinking like 10 steps ahead of what you're doing next, and after that, and then tomorrow, and then also all while working on yourself in this constant mode of self-evolution, metamorphosis, very, very focused on healing yourself, healing traumas, making amends, making things right with the people that you love in your life, and so on. And when something so emotionally charged kind of, you know, comes up in your life, it's, you know, there's like this feeling of kind of going like a ping pong ball, or no, pinball, yeah, kind of bouncing off of each of these modes, right? And there are probably much more as well going on at the same time. I also see over here we have a little vulture, okay? And definitely one of my favorite animals because they are so resourceful. They are great supporters of their ecosystem, their environment. They're, you know, they're friends of the food chain. They take care of things that are perishing so that, well, they, you know, so they have sustenance, but it also helps with the spread of disease and kind of like natural little recyclers. They help promote, you know, the decay process to go faster. So anyways, a very handy bird, right? A bird that really is kind of in its own way, kind of a patron of those kind of less spoken about processes that we all have to kind of go through, little parts of ourselves dying off and making use of those parts that we have to shed, okay? And so I really think that whatever is really going on, I just feel that I don't know what this ordeal was. I'm not really seeing exactly what this was. But what I am seeing, and this is the part that I think is more important really, is that this is an opportunity for you to look at your coping mechanisms, okay? I feel that there have been some kind of leanings towards maybe being more indulgent, being a little more impulsive, these kinds of behaviors coming up. And I think that these are things that you often have when you are feeling extra stressed out or unable to kind of navigate how to deal with your feelings. Okay. So I think that this is a situation where you're gonna have to really look at your coping mechanisms that you're already aware of. And I feel that you've already probably started doing work on them, but employing some of the techniques or kind of distractive coping mechanisms that you kind of develop in place of those other ones. Okay. But also, I think this idea of keeping yourself in check, but also checking in with people who are your supports, keeping yourself accountable. Okay. If you don't have somebody who you feel that you can talk to, or you haven't ever had to, I mean, listen, for me, it has been hard in my life to have people that I feel like I can go to, and really they are like, I don't want to ask people for help, right? I guess is what it comes down to. And so I have had to, for my own recovery, my own mental health, and my own journey through kind of, trying to heal myself in some ways, and also just, try to keep myself in a place of wellness, so I don't descend too much or spiral, to have people I can trust and talk to. Sometimes it's had to be strangers, because sometimes those are the people that are most comfortable to speak to. I've talked about this in other videos, so I feel comfortable discussing it, but things like 12-step or, like AA meetings, Al-Anon, there are a lot of different 12-step meetings, but there are a lot of kind of meetings in general. There are a lot of mental health meetings. They have, in America, the NAMI meetings, the NAMI meetings, and that's the mental health organization in America. So most communities have these in-person meetings. They have meetings online, okay? So there are a lot of resources. These are just the ones off the top of my head, but there are things other than 12-step. There are things, all kinds of focused kinds of therapies, support groups, this kind of thing. There are also a lot of communities on the internet, forums and, all kinds of places that range from, like Facebook, where it's a little more linked to your own being or whatever, what am I trying to say? It's less anonymous, basically, to other forms like Reddit, where it is, it can be pretty anonymous. So there are a lot of places to look. I do think that when we get into situations like this, that could be helpful. Okay, any of these things could be helpful. So just kind of my 2 cents. Sometimes we never even come up to a point in our life, nothing has happened yet, or we have never felt like we needed that extra support. But I really do, I'm a firm believer that even if you have a pretty stress-free life, everybody's been pretty healthy, you haven't had a lot of death or addiction or mental health stuff in the family or in your friends group or personally, it's still worth looking into having a support system in place in case something does happen at some point. Okay, because this is, you know, this is life, and things start, as the older you get, things come up. Okay. And I want to look at, let's see, I kind of want to, this one here, and it looks like a crab, and it looks like it's holding something, and I'm thinking like it's holding, let's see, I don't know, it looks like it's kind of hard to tell. In my mind, I'm thinking it's like holding the sun or something, some kind of light. Okay. And I think when I think about the crab, obviously it can be related to Cancer, but more than anything, I think that it's really about strengthening that outer shell a little bit, trying to put up some boundaries so that the things happening in the outside world, the things happening socially, the things happening in your family, whatever situation has come about, the thing that is bothering you, the conflict, it could be a direct conflict. I don't know exactly, but whatever it is, I think that it is worth also setting up some really kind of hard boundaries about maybe what you're willing to talk about, who you're willing to talk to about it, who you will engage with, what kinds of things you will engage. So, for example, like you're not going to argue on the internet. You're not going to, gossip or, give up information to like your nosy aunt or something, just something like this where it's like you have to really mitigate the amount of stress that is happening in your life by saying absolutely no, I'm not going to engage in these behaviors. I'm not going to engage in this conflict. If you feel uncomfortable about talking about the things or, rehashing whatever it is, just out saying no, you know what I mean? Just kind of, I'm going to pass on that kind of. And, there's only so much that we can do really with people. I don't know. I want to look at this right here. So we have kind of, it looks almost like a little fox person, like a fox head. And then they have like a little body, and then kind of walking with them, it looks like a smaller person, maybe a child. And they also kind of have this little fox head, kind of a canine looking head. So I think that, and it kind of makes me wonder if this is a person, now I've said that I wonder if this person is somebody like from your past maybe. This is an old situation, I think. But I wonder if maybe there is some degree of relationship, but this is something that you don't talk about. Okay, or maybe this is something that has already kind of been processed between the two or within the family, or that you have processed, and you kind of just go on with life as we often do, because any family has a lot of things that happen, obviously, but something has happened, and like I had said, it could be something like an anniversary, a of some situation, or something has come up or somebody has brought it up. I don't know exactly, but I feel like there's this strong sense of, and this also fits into where we had the whys that really kind of mirror each other, balance each other out, but a strong sense of being so similar to one another, having the same kind of personality. And I think that this adds to the conflict to some degree, because I feel you're probably pretty strong-willed, pretty opinionated within your own private life, right? And there's some butting of heads, and maybe this comes down to kind of two immovable forces, you know, kind of just can't get out of the way of each other, right? And so I don't know that there's really anything to be done directly about this. I do think, however, it is a good place to, if you are an artist, or you are a creative person, or if you are somebody who is open to creating rituals for yourself, this would be a good time to do something in honor of the situation. Maybe create a piece of art and then destroy it, right? Set it on fire. Or, you know, a deep cleaning of some kind, okay? Maybe a cleaning of your personal space, your temple, maybe reorganizing some things to change the energies that are flowing through your sacred spaces. Okay, this could also be, and now this would not be exactly a banishing ritual, or really even necessarily a cleansing ritual, but something that is kind of like a restart, okay? And to also ward off any lingering bad feelings. Now these could be things like making talisman. It could be like a ritual bath. It could be, you know, anointing your home, anointing yourself. I am a big fan of creating small bundles of like, well, poems or imagery, symbols, things that I really like. I like not magic a lot, or so you kind of put your stresses or prayers into a piece of rope or twine. For each little knot, you tie a prayer, or you tie the stressor, okay? And then you kind of wrap it up into a spiral, and you can put it into a piece of fabric. All things that are biodegradable, right? Or a piece of paper, something like maybe a paper bag or something. And then go and bury it somewhere, okay? And let the earth take it from you. Let the earth take those hard feelings. Let the earth take those worries. Let the earth take your prayers and your hopes, okay? You know, you don't have to believe in these things as actually magic, but it could also be something like a placebo, or just the process of relieving yourself of these things that you're carrying around while doing the ritual. It's about the ceremony of it, about the process of it, okay? It's not always about actually creating some kind of change in the physical world, okay? Because when we do things, and here's an example I like to use on here a lot, is when you think something, it feels one way, right? And then when you write that down on paper, it feels even a little bit different. But when you read that paper or that sentence or that thought out loud to yourself, it feels even completely different from the thought that you had, right? You're speaking energy into it. And so, you know, ritual has, and I can't explain it, I don't know, but ritual has an impact on us, okay? And so this might be a good time to partake in something along those lines. All right, let's take a look at this really quick. And so I think we have still a bit of the broken heart here. And I think this is just going to be what it is for right now. And I think it's going to be emotional. You know, there's no getting around some of this feeling that's happening. But you will find the power, your power. And because we're Virgos, right? When we find power in our action, in the process of doing things, in executing our plans, our responsibilities, just staying busy. Okay, so I think you're going to find some relief if you continue to do your daily routines. You know, set some reasonable goals that you can reach. So we're in the midst of seasonal changes, and a lot of us have to kind of change our wardrobes. Change our wardrobes, and it's just just about to cough. It feels like change our wardrobes, change the shoes that we need for the season, the things that we need. So we're going to be probably, you know, rotating closets and spring cleaning or fall cleaning and getting out the things that are warm for the winter in the southern hemisphere. So these are manageable projects to focus on when you are feeling extra emotional, or kind of having those, like I said, the leaning towards those indulgent behaviors, the impulsive behaviors, kind of, you know, the things that happen when we feel like we are not in our place of power, okay? But, you know, it could be any kind of thing that will make you feel like you are accomplishing something. And that's what we're all about, Virgo, is accomplishing stuff. I measure my life often about what I accomplish in a day. And I know that's not always the best mindset, but that's just, it's the honest truth. So anyways, I thank you so much for the time you've spent with me tonight, today, whenever you are watching. I appreciate you. I am always so honored to bring you these messages. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps me get into the algorithm. I know I say this every time, but it does. It's helping build the channel little by little, and we are building a strong community. If you haven't subscribed already, please think about doing so. You can hit the little bell and it will give you notifications for when the next videos come out. The next Virgo will be in 7 days. So if in the meantime you want to watch your other placements, I suggest you do that. And maybe not every reading is for you, but I guarantee there will be parts of the reading that resonate, okay? And take what resonates, leave the rest behind, okay? Also, please leave a comment. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what's going on. I want to hear all about your projects that you have coming up. And yeah, all right. Thank you, Virgo.